Gets it to LeBron for three for the win. Yes! LeBron James at the buzzer!
Gordon cuts through. They go to Barrett. He'll turn and shoot for the win.
Bingo!
What's up? How's it going?
Yo.
How's it going?
Chris in the building. Jacob, who you've never seen before in the building. How you doing, man?
I'm great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Jacob is a combination of Jalen and Ori. That's actually how we got the name. It works perfectly. We're going to start with my favorite topic. We're going to jump right in, and then we'll get to the small chat stuff, okay? Because we need to first talk about
LeBron James.
Opts into his $56 million. Surprise, not surprise, I'm not sure. Opts in. And then Rich Paul basically says, if the Lakers aren't about winning now, he's going to request a trade and ask to be moved or traded from LA. And I got to ask the question. So you opt into a $56 million deal, handcuff the team, and then say you got to win now after it's basically been you that's forced their hand to not be in a position to win right now?
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's really unbelievable. I know I saw that too.
Keep going.
No, I saw that too. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, seriously, like he opts in and then I see the reports now that, he's looking, he's eyeing to see if they're going to, get a big or something, to contend and everything. So, I mean, that's going to be the huge question now. It's like, where does he go? And I also saw something that said that, that it might be his last year or, he might be retiring really soon, which I hear that every year, but it feels like it's going to happen now. I'm starting to feel like it.
Well, with the retirement, I've always said, and then I'll let you go, Chris. I've always said I think it's next year is his last year because he's going to want the fanfare. He's going to want the tour, the Last Dance tour. But I think he has a chance. He's 1 year away, so why not play one more and have an opportunity to play with Bryce as well?
Right.
So I think that's the only thing holding him back from retiring is Bryce. Let me start with the opting in and then saying, or Rich Paul saying this stuff first. Chris, what are your thoughts on that first?
The opting in, I don't have too big of an issue with. At the end of the day, $56 million sounds like a ton of money, which it is. But if I'm not mistaken, it's like around the 15th highest paid player in the league at this point. So, which obviously is what he is. So he's getting paid what he deserves. That being said, if you say you're all about winning, which I'm not questioning his desire to win, but I am questioning his commitment to winning. I should say. Again, like it sounds weird to shame players for like going after their money, but that being said, the Lakers are in a clear, interesting cap situation because their third best player is severely underpaid right now. Obviously Luka's going to get paid the max, obviously, but like it's not like a super max like it would have been if he was in Dallas. And then the rest of the roster is kind of just scraps right now. So if you were to take a lesser salary, they would have been able to maybe bring in a few other pieces, like maybe give DFS a couple more bucks, maybe being able to like pay a little, being able to give Nick Claxton a few more bucks as well. So I think this Lakers team is very flawed as of today. So if you want to say your top priority is winning, maybe opt out and test the market. But I think that honestly, it was individually his best, best for himself was to opt in, take the money, and also down the line, like maybe like by the trade deadline, maybe request a trade to either a contender or I guess Cleveland would probably be his best bet at that point because they're probably going to be looking to offload of either DG or Jared Allen's contracts. So I don't know if that's where he wants to go, but I do think that would be his best scenario both for basketball's sake and for legacy's sake as well.
I don't think he's allowed to do that.
What do you mean?
And what I mean by that is you can't have it both ways, right? Like I'm okay with you getting your money, 100%. You're limited in now. This is year 22, but most people are limited in how many years they can play, and you got to make as much money as you can, get as many endorsements as you can, make as much money as you can in a shorter window than most people. Okay, again, he's the exception, having played 22 years, but for the most part, guys are playing. Well, on average, players play 3 years, but let's say 10 years, 15 years for like star players. That's a small window in the grand scheme of things, right? From 20 to 35. Like imagine if everyone was expected to retire at 35 or 40 years, even 40. You got to retire by that age. And then all the money you've accumulated up to that point has to last you the rest of your life, or change positions. I guess you could do something else. That sounds unfair to anybody. So I'm okay with them getting their money, and it's well deserved. My issue is you can't say I'm going to opt in, take the money. Ring culture is gone crazy, and why is everybody chasing the ring and and then say they better win, or I'm going to go to a contender because I want to win. Literally talking out of the both sides of your mouth simultaneously all the time. So we're, as a Laker fan, we're screwed because you're right. There's no bigs. This roster has been flawed, and I always get. Chris will tell you this, Jacob. I'll always get. Oh, he hates LeBron. I don't hate LeBron. I hate the decisions and the stuff that comes with it. Right? Like he goes to LA. They've got this great young core. Let's get rid of it all for AD so we can win now.
Yep.
We'll say, oh yeah, well they won. Yeah, they did. But much like you're a Bucks fan, so you don't apologize. You don't know, like Chris and I do, as being a Celtics and a Lakers fan. One isn't the goal, right? You got like Milwaukee. Oh my God, Giannis won one. He build him a statue. No offense. In LA and
man,
Boston,
the digs are crazy right now. I just met you, man. Okay.
Throwing you right in the fire, Jake. Yeah, that's why we're all here.
Look, it's just the truth. No, but the expectations are higher. Maybe we're spoiled, but it's like if you win one, you're like, right? Like Paul Pierce, KG, and Ray Allen. Are you happy with one? Or Doc Rivers? Are you happy that he only brought you one?
Oh, you bring up that name.
Yeah, you know Doc.
Well, it was an underachievement, but obviously there was more to the story. Yeah, like
an underachievement. But if you look at, Giannis, like I said, that's a success. I live in Toronto. They look at Masai Ujiri was let go. We'll talk about that in a second. And they want to build a statue for the president / GM because he brought them one chip. So it's just a different standard. So
that's a great point.
Yeah, they won the one, and that's all they did. And the shelves are empty. And then the guys that they should have kept, like, how good would I'm going to draw a blank on his name, and I'm going to call him Elmer Fudd, and I really shouldn't. How great would Alex Caruso look on the Raptors, on the Lakers right now as a perimeter defender? How good were some of the bigs? Mark Williams?
Yeah.
Really? He didn't look. I get it. He didn't pass the physical. Really? He looked pretty good right after the trade too.
Right.
So it's those types of things that I feel like come with him. I talk too much. Go ahead, Jay.
No, that's a great point because I will, as Chris can tell you, and anybody can tell you, I will hold on to that Bucks ring forever and ever. And I just need one. Like, that's it. I'm happy. I can die happy now because, I never saw one when they were playing with Mabahamute and, and all, OJ Mayo and all those back in the day. But you're right. As a Laker fan, as a Celtics fan and all that, there's more because, for basketball, if you don't mind me crossing sports here, I'm also a Packers fan. So for basketball, I'm okay with one. For the Packers for football, I'm not okay with Aaron Rodgers just winning one. So it really is that LeBron, it doesn't feel good with just one. Or Doc Rivers with that Celtics, everybody clowns on him, and he actually won a ring, but he underachieved.
Well, when you have more 3-1 leads blown than rings, you kind of
exactly. Because nobody compliments him for being, coach of the year and NBA champion and all-star coach. It's all about he blows leads. He underachieved with that star Celtic squad. And LeBron with his Lakers, it feels like the same. And I count the bubble ring. Don't get me wrong. It's part of the history. It's part of the championship. It's in there.
Of course.
It doesn't feel the same as with the fans. And I think everybody can agree with that.
Listen, the bubble, when we say the bubble ring.
Yeah.
You count it because they won a championship.
100%.
100%. Just like the Heat won a championship in a shortened season. Just like the Spurs won a championship in a shortened season.
No asterisk.
Just like everybody has won championships.
He's only saying that because he's a Bucks fan, by the way, and they won a shortened season as well.
Oh, did you? Oh, was that the?
There's fans. There's fans though.
Was that the Kareem one?
No,
it's 21. Yeah, it was after COVID.
Yeah,
72 games.
Season.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Okay, there you go. The Bucks. I even forgot that was a shortened season. Okay, and the shortened season. So they all count.
Agreed.
Do they all count to the same level? And when I look at the bubble ring, it's like no one realizes what they did. They played 50, 60 games, stopped the season, had a full off season that people don't forget, which helped every team, of course, but it helped an older team and where their best player was older, like LeBron, a little bit more than the younger teams. Had a full off season. They bring them back in. What did they play? 8 games, 6 games to warm up for it. And then they went right into the playoffs, where they didn't have to travel, no home court, no road, no, people calling you, begging you for stuff. Not every team was there. Just there was so much going on, and it was such a different experience that really, what did they do? They won an in-season tournament. That's all. That like literally, if you had said if the season had played normal, forget that, and you said, okay, off season, they started in October, played 6 games, and then we're starting the playoffs now, and they won. No one would say, "Oh, that's a legit season. They only played, or that's a legit ring. They only played 6 games, and they went right into the playoffs." Well, that's what happened. They had a full 2-month off season, and then a couple of warm up games where not every team was there, not every player was there. Now, did the Lakers have all their players? No, but still, it was different. So that's all I say. It wasn't, when he says it's the hardest one ever, I'm like, the hardest one ever. Like, stop.
Yeah, I will never attack the ring because it's a ring. However, it just feels different. And that's, I think that's just a consensus among, when you talk about 2020 and that Lakers championship, it still counts on the resume. But
the fact that the Lakers don't have a single finals game played like in LeBron era without a finals game played at Staples Center is indeed a disappointment.
Exactly.
No matter how you want to spin
Crypto Arena or crypto.com.
No, it's not. No, I refuse to.
Yeah, I can't call it that. Yeah.
I still call it the Forum. I'm a lot older. Yeah, like I saw Kareem win your first one with the Bucks.
Oh, I wish I was there.
Really?
I didn't see it. I read it in the newspaper. Let's be honest. So that's the thing about LeBron. So
right.
I think we all in agreement. It's either take a pay cut, which no problem, and say, hey, let's win, because winning matters. But he can't say that because he just said 5 seconds ago that it doesn't. Or take the money and just be quiet. He doesn't have to say anything. You can go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure he has a direct line of communication with Rob Pelinka to say, hey, I want us to win, right? I want to win one more, right? I care about my legacy. I know that I'm behind. I'm tied with Steph. I'm tied with Shaq. I got 1 less than Kobe. I got 2 less than Jordan. I need to win 1 more at 40 years old to cement my legacy, because it's still up in the air. All these narrative spins that I'm trying to do on this podcast aren't working.
Right.
Do that. Have that conversation. So I think publicly coming out sucks. All right. Masai Ujiri. I don't know how closely, as Bucks and Celtics, you probably play against the Raptors enough.
Yeah. I'm familiar with what happened.
What are your I have a very different take than most. What is your guys' take on Masai and his tenure in Toronto?
Okay, so when did he start there? Was it in?
He came back.
You won the ring
in 2013.
He came back in 2013.
He was there a little bit beforehand. Then he went to Denver, did some great things in Denver, and then they brought him back as VP and GM, and then he worked.
Like for the time before the ring, they were always like a competitive team. So even though they weren't true contenders, they were still winning a ton of games. So they got the first seed, then got smacked around by LeBron a couple of times. So they were always pretty solid. He made the big trade for Kawhi. Ended up winning the ring, and even after Kawhi and Danny Green left, they still ended up being a super solid team. They got the 2 seed in 2020. A couple things happened after that, and then they've been pretty big time disappointments since then. Besides the drafting of Scotty Barnes, they've been relatively disappointing. I definitely wouldn't have made that Brendan Ingram trade. I feel like that was just a weird trade, and I did think it was weird how they fired him after the drafts. Where they had the 10th overall pick. So I don't know how much I don't know if he was the one that made the final decision there, or if the ownership said, hey, we have a few moving pieces. You're not going to be here for too much longer. We're going to give someone else this responsibility, and they let him go. But yeah, it was just weird timing. I'd give his tenure ship an A. You got a ring, and you were a good team for a while, unless you want to dock him a couple points for the end of his tenure, maybe give him like a B plus. But yeah, I don't think there's much to complain about his work, unless you want to. Unless you regard it for rating GMs an A is like dynasty wise, I'd give him an A, especially with Toronto being a small market as well.
Yeah,
small market.
I'm like, it's not New York, LA, or Boston or Chicago. Maybe
it has a bigger population than Boston and Chicago. It's a bigger media than Boston and Chicago.
Okay, it's bigger population, but it's not like as popular as compared to.
It's got a whole country. It's got a whole country behind it.
Okay, you know what I mean.
Small. I just can't. Don't call it a small market. Call it a new basketball market, maybe.
Fine,
but not
okay.
A small market. I want you to sound smart. Okay, go ahead,
Jacob. He lives in Canada. He lives in Canada, by the way. In case
okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I know it a little bit more than most. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a head scratcher for me, and I'll explain my reasoning. I thought it would be fine if he was on the hot seat and he's gone in like a year or two. I think that would make sense, as they haven't been performing too well. But my thing is, the East is going to be really bad next year, like really rough. Celtics, sorry, Chris, they're in some trouble.
Yeah.
Pacers with Halliburton's injury. Bucks says, I love the Bucks, but they are Dame, and they are not going to do too well. Outside of the Knicks and everything, and the Cavs, there's really not. I mean, it's all in the West. The best is in the West right now. I would have gave him another year to see. Hey, I think the Raptors could have made the playoffs this coming season. I really think they can. If they didn't in that horrible East, then clearly his time is gone. But I mean, this is like a time, and maybe it's the opposite of it's the time. So maybe we should change the staff and everything. But I don't know. One more try. He won that ring with you. And then if he can't do it this year, then he'll never be able to do it. That's my take.
Yeah. So let me give you some stuff that's happening on this side of the decision. So, and then I'm going to go back and talk about him.
Sure.
So MLSE, which owns 75% of the Raptors, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, which is owned by Rogers Communication, mostly, which is a cell phone, it's a mobility company, whatever. 25% is owned by Larry Tannenbaum. That ownership of MLSE has changed. So there was a couple of different, Bell and Rogers, who are actually competing brands, actually each owned part of it, which already off the bat, what? And Rogers bought them out, and now they have kind of the biggest chunk. They fired their president of Toronto FC, their soccer/football club.
Yep.
About a month ago, the president, Brendan Shanahan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, he was let go. And now, less than a month or maybe a month later, Masai is gone. So they're in huge cost cutting. These are president, they have multiple titles. Like he was president and of basketball operations and gone. Same with Brendan Shanahan, same with the Toronto FC. So it was all like, we're getting rid of all these top heavy executives. And we feel like we're in a good place with our, like Bobby Webster. Like if you ask them, the 90% of basketball fans have no idea who Bobby Webster is. And he's been the general manager of the Raptors for like a decade. Like, and no one knows who he is because we all know he's not making any of those decisions. It's all Masai. Masai was the face of that franchise. Let's be honest, more so than Kyle Lowry, than DeMar DeRozan. Right. It was, Kawhi gets the credit for bringing them a championship, but the next name is, Masai. In Masai, we trust. That was the whole thing in Toronto. Masai, we trust. Yeah. He brought us the championship. And it's rare that it's a non-player, a non-coach who gets that much kind of praise for bringing a championship. Let's now go back a minute. So he comes to Toronto. Toronto's in shambles when he comes back. If you remember, through the early 2000s up until 2010, it was a constant, right? Like through the Vince Carter days, the Tracy McGrady, there are multiple coaches, GMs, like just it's a constant flux of ownership, even, it was a disaster. Even with Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh is there. The team around, if you look at the team around Chris Bosh, you would laugh. If I read you the roster, when people say, like, wait, Chris Bosh couldn't even get this team to the playoffs. Jesus couldn't get this team to the playoffs. Like, LeBron couldn't get that team to the playoffs. They were like, his second best player was LeBron's seventh best player on that 2007 run. Like, LeBron dealt with Jamario Moon and Anthony Parker and those types of, those were his number 2 and 3 players. Okay, so the roster was horrible. So of course he leaves to go to Miami, and now they're left with Andrea Bargnani. Like, just, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
So right before now Kyle Lowry comes in, and Kyle Lowry will tell you, I didn't even unpack my bags. I was like, I'm going to be in Toronto for like 5 minutes and I'm out. When that, I think it was that trade from Houston goes down. So enter now Masai Ujiri, who's brought back from Denver. They've got Rudy Gay now on the roster, Kyle Lowry, and DeMar DeRozan. Those are their 3 best players. Openly says, we're going to rebuild. All 3 of those guys are gone. The first trade is Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay gets traded, and they bring in, I don't know, 4 or 5. It was a great trade. They bring in like 4 or 5 nondescript guys, like guys you would, Gervis Vasquez, Jorge Garbajosa, like guys you don't even know any of these guys, right? CJ something, I don't know. However, the removal of Rudy Gay, the team now starts to win. And he's like, well, I can't trade Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan now because they're winning. So to his credit, he stands pat and he waits. He does nothing. And the team starts to win. And as that team grows and develops, they end up winning more games in that decade than any other team not named the Golden State Warriors. The downside is they keep running into LeBron, and the boogeyman keeps knocking them out of the playoffs. So then he swings through the fences with Kawhi, hits a grand slam. Since you were just at a baseball game, I'll use a baseball reference. Hits a grand slam, they win, but of course, Kawhi and Danny Green, so 2/5 of the starting unit leave. They actually have a higher winning percentage the next year, but they're knocked out early in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell people. The regular season, after you've won a championship, if you stay healthy, you have a shot of winning games, but not in the playoffs. Here's the downside of that, though. So the success came by accident. He was open that Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan are gone.
Yeah.
So it's not like that was his plan, is I'm going to get rid of Rudy Gay and whatever. He then goes through a series of stuff where he tries to like outsmart everybody, right? Drafting Bruno Caboclo and Christian Coloco and all these, the next, the South American KD, the next, all of these guys are supposed to be something special. Bruno Caboclo was draft report said he's 2 years away from being 2 years away. Like, that's not a good sign. Then what happens with that trade after Kawhi and he wins, and this is reported, you can look this up, is all the GMs start to say he's become so arrogant. He thinks he knows better than everybody else. We're playing speed checkers. He's playing slow down chess, right? Like he's going so slow on trades. Now, some of the trades are good. Some of the trades are bad, but like he had 3 firsts. Let me make sure I'm right. He had 3. No, I'll just go by memory. If I'm wrong, someone will correct me. 3 firsts and a player for OG Anunoby. He says no, and it ends up being the Knicks trade, which isn't as good. He's got a trade for Pascal Siakam to the Warriors, and in retrospect, now you say, okay, maybe it looks good, but the trade was Jonathan Kuminga, at the time James Wiseman, who was playing and healthy, and a first, and instead Pascal Siakam goes to Indiana for next to nothing. Right? He drafts Malachi Flynn when they already have 4 point guards. The next pick, Desmond Bane, which, by the way, that's a thing, a position of need. So basically, he makes 3 or 4 really great moves, one by accident, a couple, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's also, everyone just ignores the like 10 misses. And so I think now, you can't talk about Masai without talking about what he did for the culture. He completely changed, because I'm not pooping on him. I'm not saying he did a bad job. I'm just saying, let's look at it all. changed the culture of Toronto. Everybody believed that this team could win. He brought that. He made a team that, was respected in the NBA. He did do that. He created Giants of Africa and like a huge cultural shift in kind of the way the world looks at basketball and the Raptors. So he did so many good things that it's hard for me to say I'm going to give him a B, to use since you gave a grading system. But the reason I say it's a B is the off-court stuff, he got an A+. The on-the-court product, however, is a B at best, and it's only because, he won the title, right? Because that, and I give him credit, that could have been the biggest disaster. That guy, Kawhi, played 9 games the year before. You traded away the only star player who ever re-signed with Toronto, the country's favorite player, for a 1-year rental. If that didn't work out, and it worked, but let's be clear. They got a 6 bounce off a travel to beat the Sixers, right? They got a KD injury, and then at the end of the series, a Clay injury to win. Like a lot, as with everybody, I'm not taking away, it still counts. Right. But a lot had to go their way for his one shining moment. That as easily could have been Kawhi misses the season and then leaves and goes back to LA for nothing, and they lose everybody for nothing. Oh, I remember the other one. They traded away. That's what I was going to get to. They traded for Jakob Poeltl, and they traded away a first-round pick that got bounced around and ended up becoming Rob Dillingham. That's where that pick ended up being in Minnesota. And it's like, that's a guy who's, if you think about if this roster now had Rob Dillingham, Desmond Bane, team looks a little bit better, right? Yeah. Like you're thinking better about the future. And so it's like, why did he go for Jakob Poeltl? That's a guy you bring in if you think you're close and you need like a backup center. This team wasn't close. So to your point, like even Brandon Ingram, that trade's so weird. That's a trade that you're like, oh, I need a scorer to put us over the top. They're nowhere near, right? They're in the worst possible position where you can be, which is not bad enough to be a high lottery team. Now they got lucky; they got knocked to the 9th or 10th pick, whatever. But not good enough to be like a bad top 3 team, but not good enough to be competing deep into the playoffs. It's the worst place to be in the NBA, and so he does have to take the blame for that.
Which, by the way, after they got that 9th pick, they actually called up the Celtics. According to Zach Lowe, they called up the Celtics. Derek White,
yes.
which the Celtics. Well, like it's funny because I feel like that would be a disaster on both ends. Because I love Derek White more than anyone. He would be. I don't know if he'd be the best player on the team. It would probably still be Ingram. But he wouldn't be the first option. But like he'd be maybe the most impactful player. That can't happen. You can't be the second best player like on a team that like has Brandon Ingram as your best player, and it would be a disaster in the Celtics part as well because
Scotty Barnes is still.
Oh, Scotty, yeah, I forgot about Scotty too. Yeah. He'd have the same role, but he would have a role to Jason Tatum and get same as he did with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, rather than instead he has it with Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram, which disaster. Yeah.
Look, Derek White is a player. Look, if you rewind 3 years, and this team has Pascal Siakam, a healthy OG Anunoby, at the time they still had Fred VanVleet, right? If those moves of Derek White, Brandon Ingram, Jakob Poeltl added to those guys,
yes,
that makes complete sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Then I'm like, now you're building something that can compete in the East. Look, they're not going to. Sadly, they're not. They're still going to be a superstar away. And if you look through the last 75 years or the 75 years of the NBA, very few teams. There's a couple, right? The Pistons obviously come to mind. Very few teams have won an NBA championship without a superstar. Like that's just kind of table stakes pretty much for the most part. Like I said, there's exceptions, but for the most part, I'd say 70 of the 75. This team doesn't have that, so they have to build it. Like I said, so if you have Pascal, OG, Brandon Ingram, I don't love Jakob Poeltl, but fine, Jakob Poeltl, Derek White. I'm feeling good about Fred VanVleet. I'm feeling good about Scott. Oh, of course, they still have Scotty Barnes. Now I'm feeling all right. This team has a legit chance here. That's not this team, right? Osmosis Jones. Let's talk about this one really quick, and then we'll move on because we want to spend the rest of our time talking about free agency. But the Gasol trade was smart. The Gasol trade was not smart. The Gasol trade was not smart. Look what they gave up for Gasol.
I don't know what they gave up for Gasol.
Jonas Valanciunas.
Okay.
DeLon Wright.
Okay.
and CJ, I want to say Miles or Patterson or one of those things.
CJ Miles, yeah.
Is it CJ Miles? Can you look? Do you have it there by any chance, just to keep me honest?
Sure. Okay.
So while you double check my memory, it might have been that Patrick Patterson might have been in one of those deals too. So if you keep
in February 2019, the Memphis Grizzlies traded Marcus Gasol to the Raptors. Raptors sent Jonas Valanciunas, Delon Wright, CJ Miles, and a 2024 second-round pick to the Memphis deal.
There you go. So I got it right. Good for me. So CJ Miles, good 3-point shooter. They could have really used that. They could have used
CJ Miles stunk. He was a bad player.
I'm thinking of Patrick Patterson. That's why I'm confusing.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, so forget CJ Miles. He stinks. Fine. But DeLon Wright is a 6'9" point guard?
Yeah, DeLon Wright's not. He's not.
What was the biggest issue though with that Raptors team at the guard position?
No perimeter defense.
No perimeter defense, and they were really little. Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry on the court at the same time. You got two undersized 6-foot guards.
Well,
right? Could have used him. Jonas Valanciunas, I think, gives them not the same brain as Gasol, but he was younger. He was more athletic, for lack of a better. I think they still could have with. I'm going to draw a blank on the coach's name now too. Nick Nurse, with Nick Nurse's defensive schemes, I think they still fine.
I don't see your world where Jonas Valanciunas is the primary defender on Giannis for a large chunk of minutes. That's what Gasol did. It was Kawhi for most of the game, but like
no, with Giannis they built the wall, right?
The
wall was Gasol and Serge Ibaka, but with Kawhi as the primary defender. Well, I still think Valanciunas and Ibaka with Kawhi as the primary defender, I think, still builds the wall. And he gives you more offense. So I still
have one more.
Hold on. Let me add to it is I'm also thinking about in the next year, 2 years, 3 years after that.
Right. Yeah. So that's
right? So that's what I'm saying about the longevity. So that's why I say, do they still win it? I still think they win it. Now, if you say they 100% don't, then fine. Then it was a good trade. But I think they still win it, and you have a better player for the next 2-3 years.
I have one concern. I was just sitting back and listening, and I do agree with your points with, what he made a lot of mistakes. That's absolutely for sure. And that's a good reason why he should go. My concern is the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I think especially in the NBA today, we are firing people and staff members way too quickly. And now it's been a bit since they won the ring and made some mistakes. Just from a personal perspective, as I've unfortunately experienced this, that's why I always say give him one more year, give him one more chance, because you got to be really, really safe. Because everything that I've been seeing recently, it's when it's these. I'm not going to say it's a quick fire because it's been.
No, he's been there since 2013.
Yeah,
the fire. Listen, the fire was about money and power. He wanted more power and more money. They didn't want to pay him. That's the truth. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying that he's been there since 2013. But when you win a ring, it kind of resets. So I'm thinking more 2019.
Okay.
6 years, absolutely. However, as I was saying, I think they made some good moves, especially with a weak East, where I don't think they're going to be winning any rings or not. But my concern is that, just seeing these players and these staff members getting fired so quickly, and then just seeing what the results are, you got to be really, really careful, because people get a little too
yeah. I agree with that. You do need consistency to be good, but like Scotty Barnes can't be the best player on a championship contending team, and that's not a knock to Scotty Barnes.
Yeah,
the truth.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk free agents. Let's talk enough about the Raptors. We might as well talk about the Bucks if we're talking about the Raptors. So here's what I did. I pulled together, and I sorted them by the most important stat. You know what the most important stat is?
Wins.
That's for a team, for a player.
points.
Points per game. Yeah, that's right. All right, so. The team that scores the most points, I don't know if you guys know this, they win 100% of the games.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Someone, if you go to my Twitter feed Like right now, later, go to my Twitter feed and look up. There's a guy who's arguing with me that rebounds are more important than points.
No.
And
Rebounds are important, but
without a
no.
rebound, you can't. He says without a rebound, you can't fast break. No change of possession. It goes on and on, and I mean, he goes on and on and on, like multiple.
I have a
messages.
quick rebuttal for him.
Yeah.
A losing team can have more rebounds, but a losing team cannot have more points.
That's exactly what I said to him. In fact, I even used, I think, Game 3 of the NBA Final. I said OKC out rebounded Indiana, but Indiana won. Should we go back and change the outcome of that game and say OKC won that game? Because
I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying, though.
No. I get what. Listen.
Yeah.
If he's saying rebounds are important, sure, but the same outcome from his rebound can be achieved by a block and by a steal, right? Like there's other ways.
Yes.
An unforced turnover can give you the.
I'll throw a random stat for that guy, so he can't even argue. College basketball in 2015, I believe, Michigan State was the best rebounding team in the country. Like, there's nobody better. They lost in the first round against a 15 seed. You got to have more than that. So, I mean, yeah, they're like, oh, they're so good. They're the best rebounding. Nobody can get a rebound off them, and then they lose in the first round against like Middle Tennessee or something.
I'm pretty sure there was an Angel Reese agenda there. By the way, I always knock her when she's bad. Give her credit. She's been playing fantastic.
She's been playing really good.
5 days. Yeah, awesome. So good for her. I was a little sidebar because everyone like picks on me because I was like, no, when she was going 0 for 8, right, and having more turnovers than assists and shooting, 25%, you're allowed to make fun of her. You are. She's a star player in the league.
Absolutely.
You have to. And now that she's playing well, give her, applause. She's playing great. But it's not like it's always like it's one you hate her. I don't hate her. It's just funny when you go 0 of 8 and 0 from the field free throw line. Like that's funny. But anyways, all right. So here we go. Kyrie will reportedly sign his extension, so he's not going anywhere, although it's not official. LeBron has reportedly said he's opting in. So the next one is Cam Thomas. Is there what's the market for Cam Thomas? Where, here's a guy who's 4 years in the league, averaged 24 points per game last season. He is restricted, 23 years old.
Wow. Only 23 years old? Wow.
So hang on, give me 1 second. So I saw a tweet comparing like Colin Sexton and like a bunch of other score first guys. The market, so like Colin Sexton was it was Colin Sexton and a second round pick for Yusuf Nurkic. So that goes to, and I think the Colin Sexton is a much better player than Cam Thomas in my opinion. So they had to attach an asset to get
to talk about that after too, because what the hell is Charlotte doing? But yes, go ahead.
But to attach Yusuf freaking Nurkic, that shows you how little they value small guards that can score. So I think the market for Cam Thomas is very slim. That being said, I think there is a team out there that whether they have beef with Sean Marks or whoever the owner is of the Nets that could maybe try to bait the Nets into overpaying them by trying to match the contract, but I wouldn't pay him more than 100 million for 4 years.
Yeah, he's gonna get
not even close to that. Maybe even 80. But
who do you think? And he sounds like another guy that's gonna end up in Charlotte, or does Brooklyn just match? If you had to pick a team, where's Cam Thomas playing next year, and would you want him on your team?
Who? So you said he's only 23 years old.
Yes. Would you want him on the Bucks playing the Chris Middleton role? Because you guys lost Kuzma now too, right?
You play the
we want him gone. We want him gone.
Okay.
Yes. You said he averaged. I don't have the stats up right now, but you said he averaged last season 21 points.
24
points. Only 23.
24, 3 rebounds, and just under 4 assists a game.
I mean, that's pretty impressive actually for 23 years old. I mean, he's not, like I said, you're not going to want him to be the best player on your team, but for somebody that young, scoring that many points, yeah, I mean, I would take him as over Kyle Kuzma any day of the week. I mean, you can give me most people over Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, keep in mind he's a 6'3" kind of score first guard. He only played 25 games last year, 66 the year before, 57, 67. So there's some you might only get him for half the season.
Right.
Unless he's healthy. I don't know. I don't know about his health. That's the one thing I don't know.
It would really depend on if he understood that that his availability, because the best player, well, unless you're Kyle Kuzma, is to be available. And if he understood that, and if the Bucks or any other team could actually afford him and get in a reasonable price, I mean, it's hard to say no to a 23-year-old that can score 24 points, especially if you make him the third player on the team, fourth player. I
So
mean,
you're Bucks, you're good signing him. Celtics?
Hell no.
Hell no.
wow.
I don't enjoy watching. I love Kemba Walker. I love Isaiah Thomas, and also, yeah, I do love Kyrie Irving as well. I've watched enough I've watched enough undersized guards who don't play defense, and all three of the guys I mentioned were on another level than Cam Thomas as far as goes for playmaking and overall like team basketball. I don't think that Cam Thomas is a team player. I know the Nets aren't a great team, but only 4 assists as a point guard isn't great to me. Like the only way that the Celtics would get Cam Thomas, I think it would have to be a sign and trade for Anthony Simons, because if I had to watch Cam Thomas and Anthony Simons play together for an entire season, that would be brutal. Yeah, so that's a hard pass for Cam Thomas.
All right. James Harden will opt out and sign a massive $390 million deal. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I feel like
It's a little bit spotty.
Yeah, chopped a little bit. Yeah, chopped a little bit there.
All right, give me one. Talk about so here's the next free agent. John Collins, and then give me a second. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Collins.
Yeah. I did want to touch on Harden a little bit, actually. We can go back to John Collins in a second, but yeah, Harden
Absolutely.
He's a very interesting player, just because he did have he made an All-NBA team this year, which I don't think he deserved at all. Like, he did lead; he was the leader in the Clippers. But that being said, I think that Ivica Zubac was significantly more valuable for them.
I supported Harden with the All-NBA personally.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he was just too inefficient for me, and I feel like it was more of an expectations thing on people. He like suppressed expectations, and he was very good last year. Like, he was better than I thought he would be, but I wouldn't sign him to a $40 million deal at 35 years old.
So my thing with James Harden, last year, I remember everybody's putting the Clippers like 13th seed, 14th seed, one of the worst teams. Kawhi didn't play for a big chunk of that. James Harden, I had them, I think, like being the 9th seed. So, like, playing, but not. I was not expecting what James Harden was able to do with that team. Mm-hmm. And especially because Kawhi wasn't on that team for so much and being the leader. I do, especially when it comes to basketball. That's why I wanted to rock Şengün to have to make the All-NBA, because even though he might not have the big stats, being the leader of a team that's getting the 2nd seed and pulling up.
And I definitely understand that argument, and I used to think that way. But at the end of the day, I don't think that either Şengün or James Harden were close to being top 15 players, so that's why I would have left them off personally. But I do understand why you'd want to put them there, because
if the stats are somewhat, obviously, if you're if your stats are completely below, then of course not. Yes. But their stats were enough where I believe that just like a lot of the big argument was for SGA being MVP, not his whole argument, but not to get off track, but he being the leader of that team. But I do agree with you. That's definitely a lot of money for a 35-year-old. So I do agree. I do agree with you there, but I do believe he deserves some love though.
Okay. Yeah. Fine with me.
Not if you're building a winner, but yes, if you're thanking him for time served, I'm so like, they're gonna want to move that after this season. They're gonna want to move that, and they're gonna have trouble moving that deal.
They were the only suitors for him. The last time they did demand this trade. So
yeah.
So which I still think it was a good move for them because it kept them relevant. And they don't have their picks for tanking, so we might as well just win games, which is exactly what he did for them. So
that's what I was about to say too.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers just want to stay relevant at this point because they're gonna be so irrelevant somewhere
Mm-hmm.
down the road. So you might as well, when you have these old guys but are still really good,
Mm-hmm.
you might as well just go all in and just try, because you're the
Mm-hmm.
Clippers. You're going to be outshined by the Lakers, your brothers, so you might as well just stay relevant.
Yep.
They're still irrelevant in LA. All right, we got like 10 minutes. We'll do a little speed round.
Sounds good.
I'll give you a player. You tell me where you think he'll land.
Okay.
We're gonna start. I mentioned John Collins, who his replacement is Jokic, so he's gone.
Well, he opted into his deal, so they're gonna trade him probably.
Oh, they're gonna trade it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not saying, but if you got that info,
I'm on the same side as you, but yeah, not all of it's updated.
Yeah.
Like most of it is, but yeah, not all of it's updated.
Not all of it. Okay, so John Collins traded where then?
Good question. Yeah, he's another one. I feel like the market's pretty weak for him. Team that's to spend money. Maybe the.
I would have said the Lakers, who need as many centers as they can get, but
I was thinking Lakers because
I don't know what they have to give back.
Let's say the Nets. Yeah, they're a team that has to spend a lot of money. So.
Oh yeah, the Nets.
Yeah,
I was thinking Lakers. I think they would make sense to try.
Julius Randle has re-signed. Right?
Shout out Randle. Yeah, shout out Julius Randle. Yeah, gained a lot of respect from him this year.
Yeah,
used to be one of his biggest haters.
This is an interesting one, so we got to talk about this one a little bit.
Okay.
Because Malik Beasley.
Oh man.
Because Malik Beasley was set to earn a nice raise from the Detroit Pistons. Had a great season last year.
One of the best.
And now the report is he's being questioned. I saw one, but I wasn't sure if it was real that he's been arrested. But I think that was fake.
He hasn't been charged. No, he hasn't been charged yet. These are strictly allegations.
From a couple years ago.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So I figured that was fake. But he is being questioned about possible kind of gambling stuff. If that goes clear, I think there's no question he's just back to Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This one actually is my favorite one because I feel like every year for the past, I don't even know, he's 29 years old. So how long has he been in the league? Miles Turner has been rumored to be traded every trade deadline, every offseason.
I was my senior year in high school, 2017. I was literally scrolling my phone hoping the Celtics would trade for Miles Turner. That's how long he's been on the trade block for.
There you go.
Yeah.
Miles Turner was being offered in trades like 20 years ago when he was 9. Is he going anywhere, or the Pacers making the final? Do they just, hey, we're going to resign everybody and just stand back and try to find a point guard who can kind of help?
I think they'll do that. Like, I get part of me might think he says like, okay, hey, I'm the best player on the market. Maybe I'll try to get a big deal somewhere else. But even him being the best player in the market, I don't think he's good enough to get like a very expensive deal that he'd get a lot more than in Indiana, where he's already comfortable.
Yeah, I think they're going to just try to stand ground, especially if they were in the West. My opinion would be different, but I think with the Pacers in the East, they'll be like, we're not going to have Halliburton for a bit, but we're
deep enough, right? We're deep enough.
We're deep enough. We can contend. Maybe we could get like a 5 seed possibly, or something like that, 4 seed maybe, if lucky. Just keep it around. You got a great coach. Why not?
Yeah. It would really surprise me if after 100 years he ends up being on another team.
Yeah.
Okay. Now Oubre, I think, is staying in Philly.
Yes.
I'm skipping. Oh, I skipped the one that I want to talk about actually. 22-year-old athletic Jonathan Kuminga.
Ooh.
I think the Warriors used just wrong. In and out of the lineup.
Absolutely.
I don't think, and listen, I don't think this is a hot take, but I don't believe Steve Kerr to be a very good coach when it comes to developing young talent. I don't think he's a particularly great coach anyway.
I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think that's a hot take.
Yeah, I don't think it's a hot take. I think he's a great front runner.
Yep.
Right?
He didn't build that team.
Somebody's going to take Jonathan Kuminga and try to make him into a better player than we give him credit for.
Mhm.
Who is that somebody?
Hmm.
Give Steve Kerr credit for what you said?
Hmm?
Would you just say give credit instead of Steve Kerr?
Who?
Wait, no, I thought you were asking a question. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I did ask you a question. I said, who's going to take Jonathan
Oh.
Kuminga and turn him into a star?
I don't know if he's going to turn him into a star, but
I was done bashing Kerr.
okay, yeah. I'm going to go with the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat.
Yeah.
That's
Ooh.
interesting. I haven't heard that one. Is that yes, or is that you've heard something?
They were one of the when I was looking at, they were like one of the first teams that came up. I don't know the market again. This offseason was so weird because like in most free agency markets, this would be like the 15th or 20th guy. He's like one of the first guys we're talking about that has like an actual market. So
a lot of them are re-signing. Like when you look,
most of them are.
A lot of them are just staying.
There's no money because CJ McCollum and Grant Williams are the two dumbest players in the NBA who negotiated the. I feel like I rant about this every week on the show, but yeah, like it's an awful scenario. There's no winners in this deal.
All right, so you think Miami?
I think the Kings.
Ooh,
Kings. That's interesting. That actually might not be a bad. The Kings need to make some.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they need to make a move.
Would they trade Keegan? Would they trade Keegan Murray then? I feel like they should.
I feel like the Kings should trade everybody.
Honestly,
I'm like I feel like it's if someone was smart enough to make me the GM in Sacramento, great, like I could do wonderful things with that team. But anyways, okay, so Kings, I like that one. All right. Josh Giddey is restricted. Bulls probably re-sign him, you think?
they're going to overpay the hell out of him, and it's going to be hilarious.
They love him. I don't understand. I'm so low on Josh Giddey.
Me too.
He had that full court shot. That's why. I mean, they can't.
Like no, but even Chilltown, who I do Fluent and Chill with on Tuesday, Chilltown loves him. Oh, their point guard.
Really?
Yeah, he loves him. I'm like,
interesting. I feel like
I'm gonna be honest. I really think the reason he loves him is because of that. I think everybody in Chicago loves him because of that shot. I really think that's it. I feel like I would love to have known how he feels about him before that
LeBron.
shot.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that one. Okay, yeah. Now I was shot. I get you.
Yeah, that buzzer beater full court. It was insane, but also I don't know. I feel like if you asked your friend before that shot, I'm really curious how he feels about Giddey at that point.
No, he's not that type.
Okay, so he always liked him. Okay.
Yeah. Even when the trade happened, I was like, oh, they robbed OKC robbed them. He's like, no, that's their point guard of the future. I think they're happy with him. I'm like, what?
My thing is, I think they're gonna keep him because the Bulls just love to stay very mid,
low average.
Yeah, that's
exactly where they're not the worst team. Like you said, the worst spot. They're not the worst team. They're not the best team. They're going to be a play-in, just like the Kings are a play-in team. The Bulls are a play-in team. There's just teams that love to be in a play-in team and never go above or below that, and that's the Bulls. And Giddey will be perfect there.
Yep.
I'm gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You did skip over one right before him, just so you know. And the reason that I wanted to cut you off was because I wanted to share a laugh with you guys. A report came out from who is it? From Tony Jones. He covers the Nuggets. Quentin Grimes reportedly wants $25 million per season.
Why not? Sure.
What do you mean? Why not?
Why not? Kuminga wants 30.
Okay, but I feel like we laughed at that too. So we could definitely laugh at this undersized player from, which by the way, people talk about whenever people talk about the Sixers, they'd say like, oh yeah, they got Embiid, they got George, they got Maxey, McCain, and then they mentioned Grimes. They're like, oh yeah, they got this core. I'm like, why is Grimes being mixed in with those guys? Is my question. He
should not be mixed in with those guys. But
I do agree.
Listen, I want $25 million a year too.
What would that be? Like 100? So like a 4-year, $100 million contract for this guy?
Laughable.
Yeah.
No. Not for Grimes.
He's not gonna get it, but he can want it. It's fine.
Well, yeah.
So that's I'm not surprised. Like you're right, it's laughable, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm not surprised. Naz Reid, obviously, he's staying in Minnesota.
Yep.
Fred VanVleet is staying in Houston. Bobby Portis. So I'm gonna skip Bobby Portis for 1 second.
It's okay.
Okay. because sorry, did I miss Trey Mann? Does anyone want to talk about Trey Mann?
No, I don't.
I
don't know.
don't have
Okay,
any
here's what I want to do.
I don't know anything about him.
I want to ask you about one other player, and then you're going to get a Bucks combo platter.
Yes.
Okay. So the first
Love it.
player that I want to ask is Russell Westbrook.
Ooh.
36 years old, 17 seasons, kind of had a bit of a, hey, he can kind of, not horrible.
Yeah.
Like I think he had a redemption tour a little bit last year. Is he still in the league this year, and where? Someone's going to take a chance on him, right? There's going to be a contender that goes, he's the guy off the bench that could change our.
Do you think that Denver said to him, listen, we thank you for your service here, but we don't want you here this year, so that way he opted out? Because he's like, I don't know what other team does want to sign him, honestly. Like
that, I think that's why.
Yeah. So I don't contender. I don't know, honestly.
Could
the Knicks? I don't know.
Could he run the point in Indiana for Tyrese?
Ooh. Oh, I'd like that. Actually, I don't know if I'd like that. Actually.
No, if he signs on a team-friendly deal 1 year, try him out for the first quarter of the season. If it works, great. If not, because I love Halliburton. Look, he's no Halliburton, but Halliburton's a little fast, a little bit out of control sometimes. Like,
yeah,
could be worse.
Mm-hmm.
In the East.
Could be worse for sure.
That'd be the only place that I would say if they're nuts and they want to again swing for the fences. That's because who else are they going to get?
I don't know.
Would he?
Out of the players we listed, there's no one that I can see. Yeah, I don't know.
Could he do a farewell tour?
Who are the other point guards? Malcolm Brogdon, D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert. Who is Dinwiddie a point guard? I don't know.
No, the only player that's with that question better than him is Dennis Schroeder, which he wants to stay in Detroit. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, Dennis Schroeder. I did miss him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just like there's nobody else. So I wondered. Okay, so you have to pick. You have to pick a team. Russell Westbrook is, and you can pick out of the league. Russell Westbrook. So start the sentence. Russell Westbrook will play on, or will be out of the league this year. You have to do that sentence. Jacob, since you're new as the guest, I'll let you go first.
Russell Westbrook will be on the bench of OKC.
Ooh.
Riding it out in the sunset.
I said that last year too.
Riding the bench. He's not going to be he's not a star, obviously, but ride that bench and and then just salute the crowd, and then you're at home and retire a legend there.
They loved him in OKC, like every single game, like even like game 1 of the conference finals, like they went nuts for him, like even like rival.
Right.
They loved him.
It makes sense. He's not good as much anymore, but
and this is a farewell tour last season.
Exactly, a good farewell tour and sayonara.
They should even give a ring on opening night.
Right.
I would love that.
Yeah. Russell, I'm half trolling here, but Russell Westbrook will play for the New York Knicks this year, next season. They need if Deuce walked, they need a backup point guard. That's my only argument.
All right. I say Russell Westbrook will remain on the Denver Nuggets this year, and that's why he opted out to get a longer term, like same kind of amount of money, just a longer term for a little security to end his days in Denver. To thank him for playing nice this year.
Yeah.
All right. We end the show with a.
We didn't.
Shut your damn mouth.
No, that's a shut your. What? Who? What?
One more. Al Horford. I'll let you guys make that
Al
decision.
Horford. Is he not going to retire a Celtic?
That's I'm hearing not so. Apparently,
that's sad. If that
it is sad. Yeah. So apparently, one of the Celtics main reporters, Adam Himishay, or however the hell you say his name, he said that he is very likely going to play in the league, but there is a market for him. And given the Celtics are going to not be good next year, he wants to play for a contender. So it doesn't sound like staying in Boston is a priority. Is what I'm hearing. So I'm thinking probably not.
All right. Well, if he wants to play for a contender, I guess he's not going back to retire as a Hawk.
No.
Oh, he would look good in purple and gold.
The two teams I don't want him to sign with are like the two front runners. That's the Knicks and the Lakers. I'm like, oh my god, please. And he already played for my other least favorite team, the Sixers. So I thought he learned his lesson the last time. I guess not though.
Oh, that's sad. I did not know that. That's too bad. And I guess this season with the Celtics too would be
Exactly.
to be that
It-
your
it-
last season.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, let's end it on a happy note then with the Bucks. um, Bobby Portis is reported to be re-signing.
Oh yeah.
Brooke Lopez
Oh yeah.
is a free agent. What's going to happen with Brooke and I guess Portis is re-signing, so we know what's happening there.
Portis is resigning. Very happy about that. As a personal fan of Bobby Portis, because I'll never forget that 2021 Eastern Conference Finals. Giannis gets injured and he steps up like I've never seen anybody step up before. So I love him. And also, it's he's a great six man, and we need
Probably should have been the sixth man of the year. I think he got robbed of one, but anyways.
He absolutely did. He should have not this past year, but the year before.
Yeah,
23.
Yeah, he was a contender, and he got robbed. He was so good that year. I mean,
he got my vote.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I won. But so I love him. Brooke, I love Brooke. He won the ring. He was a really big part of that, but it's time for him to go.
You're done. You're okay with Brooke being gone.
I'm not. I mean, personally, obviously, it would be sad to see him go because he's been on the team for so long. He won the ring, and he's been such a great part of that Bucks team. But I think from a logical standpoint, it's watching the Bucks play almost every single game. His age is showing. He is so slow now. He is still a block machine. He can still do that, but not as a couple of years ago. You just see the decline. He is so slow on that court. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's really unbelievable. His age has shown, and it's time for the Bucks. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it because we do not have a future right now, but we need to find a way to get younger because putting these old slow players on the court, that's how we got killed by the Pacers. Even when Giannis didn't play last year, we're just slower. We're older. We're slower. I love Brooke, but it's time. It's time.
You realize you're about to rebuild, right?
No, we're not. If Giannis is on that, if Giannis is on that court, they're not going to rebuild.
Say goodbye to Giannis.
They're not. Giannis is going to stay, and I think this next year is going to be rough, but the year after they can start.
My friend in Greece told me that he said he's out.
No, he said he said I want to. This is what his words were on Twitter or on his Instagram. He said I want to make a finals again with the Bucks. So he is staying.
What's he gonna say?
No leaving for Giannis. What?
What's he gonna say? I want to leave.
Yeah, I mean
isn't the player saying I want to stay like the kiss of death? It's like an owner saying that's our coach.
It's different. Yeah, I am so confident that Giannis stays, and this might get clipped now, and I might get clowned on, but Giannis is staying. He's a Buck for life. Oh my gosh, this is gonna get on freezing cold takes if something changes.
You're gonna put it down to make sure.
Chris is gonna pull up his phone and be like, Jacob, Giannis just is leaving now. He's a Knick, but
tomorrow.
No, Giannis is staying. He wants to stay. The team wants him to stay. The front office wants him to stay. Giannis is not leaving, and if Giannis is on that court, he's one of the greatest players of all time. They're not rebuilding. They're not rebuilding.
Fluent.
Yes, sir.
Just got breaking news for potential Laker buyout candidates.
Oh, you were about to say something else.
Yeah. Breaking news. DeAndre Ayton is finalizing a contract buyout with the Portland Trailblazers to become a free agent. I think DeAndre Ayton's going to become a Los Angeles Lakers.
The one center I don't want.
Interesting.
So speaking of Portland, sorry, keep going if there's more news there.
No, there's no more news here.
So speaking of Portland, then, we did a draft show on draft night. Myself, Chill, Town Hoops, and Trista Crick from Heat Check, and her and I had this little bet, and I want to know your thoughts on it. I wrote it down. I hope I didn't just share something that no one needed to see, but oh well. Our bet is this: she believes that the Portland Trailblazers will be a playoff team with more than 42 wins and a top 5 defense. No. I believe
that take.
I believe their ceiling. She's a Trailblazer fan. I believe their ceiling is 35 to 40 wins and an 11 to 15 rated defense.
They're not making the play-in. They're just not gonna. It's not gonna happen. No, they are not making that play-in team. No way.
So my younger brother, an unofficial host of the All Makers podcast, was a huge fan of the Blazers. Matt Driscoll was a huge fan of the Blazers last year. I think it's going to carry over this because they overachieved so much, or they were like a top. Was a top 5 or top 10 defense like post All-Star break or something like that, which I understand. Like they were working harder than all the other teams. They weren't taking
the last 25 games. Yeah.
Yes. Was 25 games? Okay.
Like they were third. I think they were third.
I don't know if I don't know if playoff team is realistic. I'm rooting for that take. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I am rooting for that take. I do want that to happen.
They got Drew Holiday now.
They do.
Drew Holiday is done.
I agree.
And they got worse. Look, they got better defensively by subtracting Anthony Simons, but they got worse offensively. He was putting up 20
for sure.
Game. So, like,
yeah.
What are they going to do? Do you think they're going to score 60 points a night and be competitive? Like, they're going to be worse this year than last year.
I 100% agree.
I'm actually
I was joking before. They're going to be terrible.
Were you guys surprised that they made the move for Holiday?
Yes.
The Blazers or the Celtics?
The Blazers.
Oh, the Blazers.
Makes sense. Celtics made total sense. They owed him over 90.
Of course, yeah. The Celtics were gonna. If the Celtics won the title this year, they were trading both Holiday and Porzingis no matter what. Yeah. I knew they were trading them. I will say,
if they won the title this year, and what happened, or Tatum gets hurt, and they were like, okay, we're done for next year. That was the move, right?
Everything, yeah. Like regardless of Tatum got injured or that they won the title, like all those guys were getting. All those guys, like those two guys were getting traded. And I was a little surprised it was the Blazers because all the reports coming out, like, it shows you how tight of a ship that Brad Stevens runs. Like with any type of report comes out, it's always a team that like no one expects, like that he makes the trade to. Yeah.
But like Drew Holiday's one of those trades, like I was talking about earlier with Masai. That's like hey, you're close. I feel like this is the guy that can kind of put us over the.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It was such a head scratcher to see that. I mean, I'm happy that he's off the Celtics now. Sorry, Chris, because I like Drew, but and now I could root for him again. But why?
I thought they were going to flip him again, honestly. Which maybe they will. Like maybe they think his value is low now, and then maybe they're going to try to boost up his value, which very rarely works. It worked with Horford with the Thunder. It worked with Chris Paul with the Thunder. Yeah, I feel like it's only the Thunder that it works with. But yeah.
Well, but maybe they look at it in a sense, like to your point, they want to see like, okay, draft day, free agency, right? Maybe they're calling Indiana.
Maybe. Oh yeah,
they could do what the Wizards did with Middleton, where they said we're going to keep him because we want that veteran presence on the team and to guide their younger players and build that locker room presence. So that could also be right.
He's there to groom Scoot.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I don't love it. But all right. Okay, we ran a little long, but that's okay. Any final, Jacob? Where are you? Do you have anything? Do you do stuff? Do you have social? Do people follow you? Do you just come on and talk hoops every once in a while? Like what's your...
Yeah, I mean, I had a podcast.
You can tell me you're Jacob the Clipper and I would totally believe you.
Yeah, no, I was like... Chris has actually been on the podcast. I do casual podcasts with my friends, not like every week or anything. That was called Three Goats Debate. Where we get on, we just talk basketball, debate some stuff. Chris has been on it.
Oh, cool.
It's a very like I said, not an every week thing, but it's a good time, and I just love basketball. I mean, I grew up loving sports, loving basketball. So when Chris asked me to come on, I'm like, absolutely. I mean, I'll be happy to talk any basketball, any time period, any decade for hours.
All right. Well, let me know if you're doing another GOAT debate. Not GOATs debate.
I love it.
We actually did a GOAT debate. Yeah, the two of us won the. Yeah, he's on our side, by the way, fluent on the GOAT debate.
So you're Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
So the two of us did some kicking around. We teamed up. That was pretty good.
I did an episode of my regular show, or my other regular show, Fluent and Chill, where I allowed my co-host Chilltown we had like a series of 5 or 7 topics, because someone said I'm not a good. They're like, what do you know about basketball? I said, here, you give us the topics. And so I think there was 5 or 7 topics. I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read out the topic. I'm going to let him, Chilltown, pick what he believes and make his case. Me not even knowing the topics and not even necessarily maybe even agreeing. I said, I'll debate the other side.
Mm.
And so it was like a blind, and you had to pick a side whether you believed it or not. So I could make the case for other people. Like when we say the GOAT, I always say we're talking about the NBA GOAT. And Michael Jordan's the NBA GOAT. Because
Agreed.
the basketball is Kareem, and there's not a debate.
Okay.
I'm waiting for everyone to say yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'm not gonna say
I was
yes.
waiting for Jacob's take. Yeah. I agree with you.
And here's why Kareem's the GOAT of basketball. Because if you
Okay.
combined high school, college, and NBA, there's no one has done what he has done in all 3 kind of, from their basketball lives, their basketball careers, right? Jordan was not good in high school. Jordan had moments in college, but nowhere near Kareem. And then, okay, he's better in the NBA. LeBron, as good as he was in high school, didn't achieve what Kareem did. Obviously, there's no college. So he gets an automatic X there. And okay, NBA, you could say he had a better NBA career than Kareem. I'm okay with that. Who else comes close? If you look at anybody who had great college careers, like the Bill Waltons of the world, didn't do enough in the NBA.
Right.
Pick whoever you want.
I think the Russell is the only one that has a case.
Russell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Like, do you know anything about Russell's high school?
Yeah, he has 3. Was it 2 or 3 championships rings? Yeah, state championships. I'm pretty sure it's 3.
Okay.
And then
I don't know about, to be honest, I don't know anything about Russell's high school. So maybe you can argue.
I respect that though. Because at first I was like, where are you going with this?
Because here's the thing, like with Kareem, and you can say it in like 30 seconds. Only allowed to play 3 years in high school. In New York, the toughest place. 3 championships. He's the best player all 3 times.
Yep.
Goes to UCLA. Back then, rookies weren't allowed to play, so he only allowed to play 3 seasons. He loses 2 games in those 3 years. So he has an undefeated season, national championship, player of the year, outstanding player of the year. Next year, only loses 1 game, national championship. He's the best player. Next year, they only lose 1 game. He's the player of the year. They win the national champ. So he wins 3 in high school. The only 3 years he's allowed to play. He's the best player all 3 years. University, he's only allowed to play 3 years. 3 national titles. He's the best player all 3 years. Oh, and by the way, they stop people from being allowed to dunk to try to stop him.
Yeah.
And he's averaging like 28 and 18, like ridiculous numbers. Then he comes to the NBA and is the all-time leading scorer. 6 goes to the finals 10 times, wins 6.
Immediately wins a ring with the Bucks.
Yes, 6-time MVP, has won finals MVP 2 or 3 times, whatever. It takes 38 years for someone to break his scoring record, a guy who apparently all he had was a hook shot. Right. And people undervalue how good his defense was.
Yep.
When you look at it holistically like that, how do you make a case for the traditional guys? The Russell one I got to look up. That's actually a good one that we should maybe look at that one, because I don't know enough about the high school and college of Russells to
I'm currently reading a book that, about the history of Catholic college basketball, and then there's a whole section on Bill Russell versus Bill Russell. So that's how that came to mind.
Cool.
I respect that.
All right, so yours, I was going to plug your show, but it's not. I don't know when, so I can't tell.
You could plug it. 3 Goats debate plugged. When it happens. When it happens.
Right. Well, let Chris know, and we'll let people know. Chris obviously will be here on Thursday.
I won't be here this Thursday. I won't back. Not this Thursday, but I'll be here this week. Yeah, I'm thinking probably something maybe not this week, but we'll be back definitely the week after for Thursday. But I'll definitely let you know if we're going at any other time this week.
Right. Well, Fluent and Chill is taking Tuesday off, and we're coming with a special event on Wednesday, and that's only because Tuesday is Canada Day, and I'm doing something with the fam. So I will see you Wednesday night. Other than that, Jacob, you're invited back any Sunday that you want.
Thank you. Happy to come back. It's a great time.
Check us out, NBA Max, every Sunday.
I'm in.
Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.